I want you to close your eyes for a second. Imagine you're standing in front of a stranger and you're holding a briefcase.
Okay.
And inside that briefcase is nearly $700,000 in cash.
Which, just to set the stage, is the median home price right now in the Avon Grove School District. Specifically, $690,790.
Right. It's a staggering amount of money.
Yeah.
Now, imagine you hand that briefcase to this stranger, trusting them with your entire financial future simply because, well...
Because they were nice to you at a barbecue one time.
Exactly. Or maybe because you typed real estate into Google and just clicked the very first name that popped up.
It sounds absolutely terrifying when you frame it that way, doesn't it? But, I mean, the data shows that is exactly how most people choose their real estate agent. It's the friend of a friend method.
Or the whoever answered the phone first method. And that brings us to today's deep dive. We are stripping away the nice smile and the firm handshake and looking at this fascinating source document called How to Vet a Real Estate Agent in Avon Grove.
And this isn't your standard advice, like pick someone who communicates well.
No.
This is a data-driven guide. It's designed to be a lie detector for one specific and very, very tricky market.
And tricky is the right word. The mission here is to move you, the listener, from, oh, my friend recommended them, to, do they actually know what they're doing with my money?
Because Avon Grove is a unique beast. It has quirks, structural, geographic, and yes, even olfactory quirks that will absolutely chew up a generalist agent.
We're definitely going to get to the smell part, the mushrooms, later on. That's a story in itself. But I want to start with the biggest red flag in the data. So source calls it the 220-day paradox.
Mm-hmm.
When I first read this stat, I honestly thought it was a typo.
It's the number that stops people in their tracks. It contradicts almost everything we know about how a hot real estate market should work.
Okay, so let's unpack this because this really sets the stage. Usually, we look at two numbers to judge a market, inventory and days on market.
Right.
Right now, Avon Grove has about 31 active listings, and the months of supply is sitting at 1.7.
Right. And just to define that for anyone who isn't a realtor, months of supply is like a speedometer. It just means if no new houses came on the market, it would take 1.7 months to sell everything available.
And 1.7 months is low. That is extremely low.
Historically, yes. Anything under 3 months is considered a lightning-fast seller's market. In most places with 1.7 months of supply, you'd see bidding wars, waived inspections.
Homes selling in a weekend?
Absolutely.
But here's the twist. The average days on market in Avon Grove is 220.
Mm-hmm.
That is over 7 months.
It doesn't seem to add up, does it?
It makes no sense. How do you have a supply shortage, yet the homes that are there are just sitting for half a year? It's like a bread line where there's no bread, but the one loaf at the front has been sitting there for a week.
That is the paradox. And this is actually the first litmus test, the first lie detector question you should use when interviewing an agent. You sit them down, you look them in the eye, and you ask, the average days on market is 220. Why?
Okay, so play the bad agent for me. What's the wrong answer?
The wrong answer is panic. An agent from outside the area, maybe from Downingtown or the main line, they see 220 days, and they just assume the market is dead.
They think nobody's buying.
Exactly. They'll start talking about how it's a soft market, how you need to slash your price immediately to get any movement. That is the mark of a generalist.
They're misdiagnosing the patient.
Totally. They're applying city logic to a rural reality.
So what is the actual reality? Why is it taking 7 months if there's no inventory?
The right answer, the expert answer, is about geography and specificity. See, Avon Grove isn't a walkable borough like Westchester where people just stumble upon a cute house while grabbing coffee.
No.
It's rural. It's spread out. The buyer pool is just smaller and very, very specific.
Nobody just ends up in Avon Grove by accident.
Yeah.
You have to drive there on purpose.
Precisely. You have to want to be there. So a true expert knows the market isn't soft. It's just paced differently. You might be selling a property that's perfect for a horse owner or someone who wants a massive workshop.
Right.
That buyer exists, but they aren't walking by every day. It just takes time.
So if an agent understands that, they won't panic. They'll have a strategy that involves patience.
Correct. They will tell you, look, we're going to price this right, but we aren't going to freak out if it doesn't sell in week 1. We are waiting for the right buyer.
That's a huge distinction. Okay, so if the market is that specific, who are these buyers?
The source identifies 2 main groups. First, you have what the source calls the affordability play.
Which sounds kind of funny when we just said the median price is almost $700,000.
I know, right? Affordable is relative.
Right.
But think about the surrounding areas. Garnet Valley, Unionville-Chadds Ford, those are incredibly expensive.
$1 million plus markets.
For sure. So Avon Grove offers the same high-quality Chester County school system, but at a price point that's like an entry gate for people priced out of those other areas.
You're getting the Unionville lifestyle without the Unionville price tag.
Essentially, yes. But the second group is even more interesting. This is the Delaware connection.
I was looking at the map earlier, and Avon Grove is just hugging that state line.
You are right on top of it. A huge chunk of the buyer pool works in Wilmington or Newark, Delaware. They want the Pennsylvania schools for their kids, but they need that commute to be manageable.
So an agent needs to know that the competition isn't just the next town over in PA.
Right. And this is a key insight from the source. Buyers here aren't choosing between Avon Grove and, say, Media. They are often choosing between Avon Grove and just living in Delaware.
That feels like a totally different sales pitch.
It is. If your agent doesn't understand the tax implications, the difference between PA and Delaware property and income tax, they're going to fail. They are missing half the pitch.
That is a really specific competency. Okay, we know who is buying. Let's talk about how to spot a fake. The source gives us two major metrics. The first one is about volume.
Yes, transaction volume, but not just how many houses did you sell.
Right, because an agent can sell 50 homes in Philly and know absolutely nothing about Avon Grove.
Exactly. The question you have to ask is, how many transactions have you closed specifically within the Avon Grove School District in the last 24 months?
And the source has a hard line on this. What's the magic number?
5. If it's fewer than 5, the source says they are learning on your dime.
I have to play devil's advocate here. I mean, that feels a little harsh, doesn't it? Everybody has to start somewhere.
It does feel harsh, but look at the geography. This isn't a grid of identical streets. Avon Grove isn't one place. It's 7 different municipalities. Franklin, London Britain, London Grove.
And those are not cookie-cutter suburbs.
Far from it. This is where the risk is. You have some planned developments with public utilities, then you drive 10 minutes, and it's all rural, rolling hills, well water, complex septic systems.
So the regulations, the zoning, all of it changes mile by mile.
Drastically. An agent from Downingtown won't know the difference. They won't know the specific septic inspection requirements for a transfer in New London versus London, Britain.
So asking for that transaction history isn't about being a snob. It's about proving they've actually navigated this specific terrain.
Correct. You want someone who knows the battlefield.
Okay, let's hit this second metric. This one actually blew my mind. The list-to-sale ratio.
This is a fascinating data point. As of early 2026, the list-to-sale ratio in Avon Grove is exactly 100%.
100%. So on average, a house sells for exactly the price on the listing.
Exactly.
My first reaction is that sounds great for sellers. You get what you ask for.
It is great, but it's also a trap.
How is getting what you want a trap?
Because it means there is zero cushion. The market is hyper-efficient. It will pay what the home is worth, and not a penny more. The trap is something called buying the listing.
Ah, right. This is where an agent promises you a crazy high sale price just to get you to sign the contract.
Yes. They come in, look at your house that the data says is worth $690, and they go, oh, I can get you $750 for this. You get excited, you sign with them. But in a market with a 100% ratio, overpricing is fatal.
Why fatal? Can't you just lower the price later?
You can, but remember the 220-day average. If you overprice, you add a month of stagnation to an already slow process. The market sees the high price, rejects it, and the house just sits.
And the longer it sits, the more people wonder what's wrong with it.
Exactly. It gets a stigma.
Yeah.
And we see the fallout in the data right now. About 29% of the active listings in Avon Grove have had price reductions.
Wow.
That's nearly a third of sellers learning the hard way.
So for a buyer, this 100% ratio also sends a message. Don't bother lowballing.
It's likely a waste of paver. If the house is priced correctly, the expectation is you pay asking. The deal isn't in the price. The deal is in finding the house at all.
Okay, I want to pivot to something that is very unique to this area. We have to talk about the mushrooms.
We do. You simply cannot discuss Avon Grove real estate without discussing mushrooms.
I learned from the source. Chester County produces over 60% of the mushrooms in the U.S. That's a lot of fungus.
It's the mushroom capital of the world. And they grow in compost. And when they're preparing that compost,
it creates a distinctive aroma.
That is a polite way to put it. Now, the source calls this the sensory check, and it warns about 2 specific lies agents tell about the smell.
What's lie number 1?
Lie number 1 is denial. Oh, you never smell it here. That is just false.
And lie number 2?
Lie number 2 is the lazy answer. It smells everywhere, you just get used to it.
Which implies you just have to suffer through it no matter where you buy.
Right, and that's also not true. The reality is highly localized. It depends on wind patterns, the season, and where the mushroom houses are.
So it's almost like microclimates of smell.
It really is. A good agent will stand on a lawn and say, okay, this neighborhood is generally fine, but that one 2 miles over, you are going to smell it in July and August.
That is the level of detail you need. You don't want to find that out after you move in.
Exactly. A generalist looking at a map on Zillow will have no idea.
It's not just the air outside, though. It's what's underground. The utility situation.
It's a huge deal, especially if you're coming from a suburb. You can't just assume public water and sewer.
The source says, well, and septic systems are widespread.
They're the norm in many of the townships. And here's another test. If an agent takes you to a property and doesn't immediately talk about the utility setup, they are failing you.
Explain that to me. I mean, I hear septic tank and I think, problem. Is it risky?
It's not risky if you know what you're doing, but it requires active management. A buyer needs to know what a perk test is.
What is a perk test?
It's short for percolation. It tests how well the soil absorbs water. If a septic system fails, you need to know if the ground can handle a new one. If the soil's bad, you might need a sand mound system.
A sand mound. That sounds big.
It is. It's a giant mound of sand in your yard. And crucially, it can cost $20,000, $30,000, even $40,000 to install.
$30,000. That's a new car.
Exactly. And then there's the well water you have to test. So if your agent is from Philly, they might not even know to put these contingencies in the contract. That's the danger.
Yikes. Okay, let's move to some advanced vetting. The source mentions professional designations.
Yes, and these aren't just alphabet soup. For example, you have a lot of long-term homeowners. For them, you want an SRES, a seniors real estate specialist.
Why does that matter?
If you've been in a home for 40 years, the capital gains taxes are massive. An SRES is trained to navigate that, coordinate with estate planners. It's a different level of empathy.
That makes sense. What about divorce?
Unfortunately, yes. With a $700,000 asset, the house is a huge piece of the pie. There's a designation called RCS-D for divorce.
Didn't even know that existed.
Most people don't, but you need someone who knows how to treat the house as a neutral asset and communicate with the lawyers.
And then, of course, there are the luxury properties, the horse farms.
Right. For that, you look for CLHMS certified luxury home marketing specialist. They know about easements, barn structures, all that stuff.
Okay, I saved the coolest tip for last. The source suggests using AI to audit your agent.
I love this. It's such a modern way to cut through the noise.
So walk us through it. How does it work?
Simple. You interview the agent, you ask them all these questions we just talked about, you take notes on what they say.
Okay, got my notes.
Then you go home, open a tool like ChatGPT or Claude, and you type in, I am considering hiring a real estate agent in Avon Grove. Here are the claims they made. And you just paste their answers.
And then ask the AI to verify it.
Exactly. Ask, can you verify these claims against current market data? It's an instant fact check. If the agent told you homes are flying off the shelves and the AI pulls data showing 220 days on market,
you know you're being sold a line. That is brilliant. It's like having a second expert in your pocket.
it removes the trust me element. Data doesn't lie.
So let's bring this all home. What is the big takeaway for someone thinking about making a move in Avon Grove?
The takeaway is that local isn't a buzzword here. It's a safety requirement. Avon Grove is a fantastic place to live, but it has sharp edges, the compost smells, the septic systems, the slow pace. These things punish generalist knowledge.
And the friend recommendation is the most dangerous trap of all.
It is. A nice agent who doesn't know the difference between London Britton Township and West Grove Borough can cost you tens of thousands of dollars. Being nice doesn't fix a septic tank.
That's the truth. You know, there's one thing that's really sticking with me from this. It's that 100% list-to-sale ratio.
What about it?
We're so used to the idea of negotiation, right? The haggling, the
Yeah.
back and forth. But in Avon Grove, the data suggests that the price tag is effectively the law.
That's a great point.
It suggests the most important negotiation doesn't happen between the buyer and the seller. It happens before the sign ever goes in the yard between the agent and the data. If you get that wrong, the game is over before it starts.
And that is why you need an expert, not just a friend. You need someone who can win that argument with the data first.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for listening to this deep dive. Go vet those agents, ask the tough questions, and maybe drive around with the windows down first. We'll catch you next time.